Hey everybody, welcome to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions, helps you out in a pinch, and also jumps on the hot topic of blank firing in Airsoft. I'm your host, Jonathan Higgs, and welcome back to another huge show. And in fact, this is a good show. If you guys watched last week, you know we're running a two-part contest for a giveaway on some hats. So this one, if your question made the show, we'll be drawing for the winner for the Tactical Collection caps, the first of second. So if you didn't, don't worry about it. You've got another chance coming up in the next show, and I'll tell you about how to get entered into that when we announce the winner from this week. Also, I want to tell you guys what's going on a little bit too. If you guys have been following the channel last week, I got a review up of the Armistice plate carrier. It's the Costa carrier from LBX. I've got that up on the site, and I've got two big reviews coming in this week. One, and this will be up on Wednesday first, is the new combat machines. This is the CM013, I think. Let me cheat over here and look at my notes. CM16, I almost got it wrong. CM16 SRL. That's why you keep good notes off camera here. This is the new combat machines, and I'm gonna tell you guys right now, this is not the combat machines of old. I'm gonna tell you, they have made a ton of improvements and changes. This is a far cry from what it used to be, but I'm not gonna give away too much because you guys will have to watch the video on Wednesday. And behind that, I got another gun review coming up, M27 IAR. Now this is on the opposite end of the spectrum, ultra premium offering from Elite Force / Umarex here in the States or overseas. So this is their newest version. This is the newest model, actually. It's the 2015 model, so it has the MOSFET and all kinds of other stuff inside of it. So we're gonna talk about that. Oh yeah, by the way, the other gun has a MOSFET in it too. So it's a dual MOSFET week. That's right. So I'm going to talk about this one. We're going to talk about that one. This will be on Friday. That one's going to be on Wednesday. So stay tuned. If you guys are in for big gun reviews, that's coming up for this week. But enough of what's going on and coming down the pipes from us. Let's dig on in and see who has a chance to win the hat in this week's questions. Patrick Shields writes, Jonathan, if you could be the Airsoft version of James Bond, what kind of gadgets would you love to have? Okay, two I would definitely pick. A heartbeat monitor. So if you guys ever watched or played the old, I think they were Rainbow Six games, had the heartbeat monitor in them, and some of the multiplayer, I forget, it was like Rainbow Six Siege maybe? I don't know. You guys will correct me and let me know which game that was. I just love the idea of like super fantastic heartbeat monitors, so I can just kind of know where they are on the other side of the wall and be able to get the drop on opponents. If not that, I would say thermals, because they are incredibly expensive. I know you can get some new ones like the Torrey Pines. I think it's called the T10, I think is the model on it. Those are like under $1,000 for kind of a basic thermal for like really short range, small screen. But like a real good thermal setup, we're talking like 10 to 15 or more $1,000 to get. So yeah, I think those are my two James Bondish gadgets if I had pretty much unlimited funds. Oh wait, that and a really, really cool like airsoft vehicle that had like turrets and machine guns and, you know, a couple like a Ma Deuce on the roof or something like that. I think that would round out my collection. I don't want to go too far in, you know, I just want to keep humble. Fudgecrafter 101 writes, hey there, greetings from Florida, and my question is, what if there were no Milsim Ops? Would you still play Airsoft, or would that ruin the game for you? Love the show, thanks in advance. No, I love all types of Airsoft, so I mean, yeah, I'd be disappointed. I'd really enjoy a Milsim Ops as part of that, of course, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. I think it'd be just fine. I mean, for years and years and years before I started going to Milsim Ops, played at my local field for skirmishes, and I still have a soft spot for just some fun skirmishes like that. I think it builds a lot of community, a lot of friends hanging out and things like that. So for me being ruined, absolutely not. Operator George writes, what's the best country for Airsoft? Whichever country you live in. I mean, seriously, if it's a country that allows Airsoft, then definitely it is great. I know there's some that aren't. Right now, I know they're trying really, really hard to try to get it approved in Australia, and that's a tough one. I've got some emails from some fans about that to help me spread the word on getting Airsoft in Australia legalized. So that's unfortunate, but even then, I'd love to see it turn around. I know their neighbor right next door, New Zealand, actually does allow it, although really restrictive. I think it's semi-only. I think the guns actually have to be modified for semi-only, but I would love to see more countries accept it. I mean, it's kind of odd. I know some countries it's gray area, but to be honest, which one's the best? Wherever you live. Hui Gaming writes, hey Jonathan, do you know what I can do if my Elite Force HK416 isn't chambering the BBs out of the magazine? Thanks. Okay, so I'll use the M27 as a good example here. If you're having trouble there, you could have a few things going on. Something may have broken, you may have some issues. First and foremost is I would definitely check your magazine to make sure you have a mag. If it's high cap, make sure it's wound, it's actually feeding. So a good way is to grab that little thing with your finger, pull it back and see if the BB shoot out. And then you shoot out with a lot of force. So if you're doing that, you're set. Mid cap, same way, but make sure the mags you're using are ones that work with the gun. A good one to use is the one that came with it. This is the one that comes with the VFCs, like a high cap here, but a mid cap, anything like that. Try a couple different mags to make sure that's not your problem first and foremost. So if we narrow that out, I would say probably a couple things in here too. Could be your HopUp itself, the actual bucking could be flipped. There could be a tear in the bucking. That can happen if you get debris up in there. There could be an obstruction somewhere in here close to the HopUp bucking. That's happened to me before where I've got some junk, I've dropped my mag on the ground, loaded it up, there's been some mess in here and it's messed up and torn my bucking. Be a real easy fix. All you gotta do is slide your upper off, check your bucking, make sure it's clean, everything looks good, and there's no tears, rips, or flips in there. If that doesn't work, the next step, and I've had this problem happen myself as well, is you may have a broken tappet plate over time if you've had this gun for years and years and years, or even not. You can actually have some feeding jams, like if you've got debris up in there before and it's caused a few jams, it can snap the tappet plate. It's broken and that air nozzle is not cycling. So the best way to do this is actually to take your upper receiver off. So after you've inspected your HopUp chamber and bucking to make sure everything's okay, put a battery on it and then fire the gun with everything out. See if that air nozzle is moving back and forth with each shot. It should fire, recess back, and then it should fire and come back. It's actually pushing a BB forward is what it does, and it loads it into the HopUp chamber. Then it shoots the air and fires the BB, and then it kind of goes and sits back waiting for the next round. Make sure it's doing that and it's not just stuck. If it is, put your gun back together and look down in this hole. Make sure there's no BBs in it. Do this with eye protection on. And you want to look down in it while you're firing to see in that little HopUp chamber hole if you can see the air nozzle moving with each shot. Sometimes it'll get in there a little tweaked. The HopUp chamber could get bent if you've jammed it or dropped it on the mag a few times, and the air nozzle's not like catching on something and is not going in to push the BB. So those are all going to be your major reasons of why your gun isn't firing or actually feeding into your HopUp chamber. If none of those work, definitely want to stop and kind of take it to a tech. You may have something else really weird going on, but usually one of those things is going to be the answer. AZ Elite Airsoft writes, hey Jonathan, none of my friends are really into airsoft, and the only one that's kind of is can't play very often. This had almost brought me to quit airsoft several times because it sucks not having anyone to go in the field with. What can I do about it? This is where you gotta take the leap of faith. Go to the field. Get out there and meet people. Go make friends at the field. You may have to go solo, and that's understandable, but if you get out there, you're gonna make friends. When I first started playing airsoft here in Nashville, Tennessee, I didn't know anybody. I walked out on the field the very first day, got there with no one, not a soul, and made friends quickly. It's amazing. You'll get teammates, you'll start to talk to people, just be friendly and open. I mean, I know, like I said, if you're an introvert, it can be a little difficult to do it, but getting out there and playing alongside of someone goes a long way to help build friendships. Maximus writes, do you have a job other than YouTube? So yeah, actually this is it. This is my full-time job. If you guys followed the show and the podcast for a long time, you'll know in the past I've been in IT. I started off being a PC tech. I worked my way up through servers and data center stuff and backup and recovery and ended up into management. I was doing that for years, managed teams of guys doing IT outsourcing all over the country. But what I do today, I actually walked away from my IT job. I actually willingly left it, stepped away and put my resignation in, and I'm doing this full time. It was a huge leap of faith and a massive salary change. I mean, IT pays here and YouTube pays, well, I'm gonna take it off screen. You can't even see it, it's so low, but it's because I love doing this. So yeah, if you guys wanna know what I do for a living, it is 100% YouTube, whether it's this channel, and I also do help other brands grow on YouTube as well by actually helping them out in a consulting capacity. So, but aside from that, I'm 100% YouTube. This is the two for Brian Bauer and Ruben Kruger are both right. What are your thoughts on firing blanks through real weapons at Milsim events? We saw it on Desert Fox videos and it looks intense. So yeah, actually this one I had queued up from last week and also got one again this week, and blank firing's been a big topic here in Airsoft in the past couple weeks with people taking both sides. A lot of the media groups have kind of brought up some questions, and it's funny, I was going to bring it up last week and then the whole storm hit around Tuesday or Wednesday, so I actually skipped the question. It got actually cut from last week's show. I'd answered it, but and then the storm hit and I was like, oh, I should have left it in after all. My honest opinion is I think it is totally fine in a controlled environment, because it's Milsim West. And you guys are going to go, well, why Milsim West? No, I had somebody else. Well, Milsim West is run by military, retired, or active duty or reserve guys. They've all been in. These guys, I know them personally. I know what their reputations are, and they run a really solid event. The cadre and the guys that are allowed to use blank fire are military or law enforcement that are running it. There's a multi-stage inspection process, and they have to use blank firing adapters, which means it's a device that goes on the end of the weapon where if you were to load a real round in, it would strike that piece of metal and cause the weapon to either, kind of break, get damaged, fall apart, and would definitely not let that round continue on. So when you look at all of those factors, I think in a controlled environment run by the staff and not pointed point blank directly at somebody else, I think it is perfectly fine and safe. And I know there's a lot of people that think otherwise, but it adds to the immersion. And I think having it around you and the gunfire and like going to a reenactment, I mean, it's really any different than these Civil War reenactments you see around here or World War II reenactments where people are blank firing all day long. No, it's not. So yeah, knowing that going into it, I think it's great. I think it adds so much to it. I think it's something that Milsim West is really doing well. Now, that said, would I trust any John, Tom, Dick, or Harry to run out there with their blank firing gun and not have it inspected? Absolutely not. And that's why I prefaced it with, I think Milsim West is doing it right, doing a good job, and has the right people in charge to monitor the process. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to finally attending my first Milsim West event here, hopefully this year, and I'm looking forward to all the blank fire. Well guys, that's it for questions this week, which means it's time for the Code Red headsets video recommendation of the week. And we were just talking about blank fire, and this one was actually already queued up this week for one of my favorite videos. I've actually had it in the hopper for a few days. It is from Ranger Mayhem, and it's from one of the Milsim West games. It's actually the most recent one, and this is such a great video. It's a really refreshing look. Now, a warning, a little salty language in this video and a lot of intensity with the guy behind the camera, and I love that. I think it's so freaking awesome. This guy is like dialed up to 11 and really is getting into it. But if you want to see some tag rounds fly out, you want to see some support gun work, and you want to see someone who knows, this guy is obviously, well, I can tell you now, he is definitely military, knows how to lead and how to run and how to deal with stressful situations. This is freaking awesome. And again, this is one of these main reasons I want to go see a Milsim West event personally and be a part of it. But yeah, guys, check it out. It's Ranger Mayhem's channel. It's a really young channel. He's only got a couple of videos up, but they are definitely worth a watch. And I'll have the link to the video down in the description. Well guys, that's it this week, which means it is time for the giveaway, the Tactical Collection hat giveaway. The first part, remember there's two parts. I'll tell you how to win the second part or how to enter in the second one here in a minute. So what I'm doing is I actually have 15 questions that made the show cut. Okay, so I narrowed down the pool of over 1,000 this time. I really did have 1,000 to go through. Good grief, you guys are awesome. But I've narrowed it down to the 15, and not all 15 make the show. And this is how I do most shows. If you guys don't know it, I actually have about 15 questions. I'll answer them all on camera, spend about an hour here, and then I chop the video down to about 15 minutes is where I get. So usually it's about 5 to 7 questions end up making the show. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna use random.org's random number generator right here on my cell phone. I'm gonna hold it there for you, and I've got it set for 1 to 15. So I'm gonna hit the random number, and then I'm gonna go over here on the screen and find the numbered question. I actually have all the questions this week numbered 1 through 15, like I do every single week, and I'll find the one, I'll click it, and I'll open it up to correspond with the winner. So we're gonna hit the button here, hit generate, and the winner is number 12. Number 12. So we're gonna go over here, and we're gonna go to question number 12. And that is from Maximus, and the question is, do you have a job other than YouTube? So Maximus, congratulations, you are the winner of the hat this week. I'll get you some information, PM me or I'll PM you on YouTube, and I don't normally answer PMs on YouTube. It's like their messaging system is just terrible, but hit me up on there or I'll PM you and on Google Plus or something and try to track down the shipping information so I can get your hats out to you in the mail. Now, do you guys want to win? It's simple. I've got another one. Now next week we're gonna mix it up. So this week it was all about comments. Next week it's all about sharing, and sharing is caring. So what I want you guys to do is to be entered. It's simple. Next week's video, mash that share button. Share it on your favorite social media of choice and use the hashtag of Airsoftology Mondays. So that's hashtag Airsoftology Mondays, all one word, and I'll be searching for that hashtag across all the social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever, I'm gonna be looking for it. Now, I'm pretty much on the social medias I really stay on, of course, are YouTube, so, Facebook, I can't even get it out today, Twitter, Instagram, and then also over on Tumblr a little bit. I've started up a Tumblr. So those are really the main ones if you guys want to try to get out there. I'll try to look elsewhere if possible, but those are the ones I'm really staying on top of. So just use that hashtag and be searching for that hashtag, and any of those shares, I'll bring them all together and I'll do another random number generator for who won that. I'll be announcing at the very beginning of next week's show for the final 2 hat giveaway. So guys, thanks a bunch for entering. Good luck on the next one. And until next week's show, go out, play some Airsoft, have some fun, but no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.